It's your time to renew, rebuild, and restore with Rebirth Podcast. Let's go!
It's what you've been waiting for. The Rebirth with your host, Shay Marriott.
Let's go!
And Eli Isabel.
Good evening. Welcome to the Rebirth. I'm your host, Shay Marriott.
And it's your boy Eli Isabel, a.k.a. The South Got Something to Say. Happy Monday, Shay.
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time.
It has been.
Where you been at, though?
Yeah. I've been making some moves, man. I'm making some moves,
all right.
you know, doing some things.
Got some things on. Got some things popping. Big things popping.
Yeah. Yes. I'm excited to be back. Hello, Rebirth family. How are you guys doing? It seemed like it has been a few weeks. Well, it has been a few weeks.
Has, literally.
It has been a few weeks since I have been here, and I just want to say thank you for holding it down.
You are welcome. I mean, hey, it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
And we can get back to, our normally scheduled programming.
Regularly scheduled programming. Yes. How are you? How was your Valentine's? What was going on? Yeah.
Oh, boy. So I'm doing well. To God be the glory.
All right. You still going to church?
Because I go to church now.
Listen, I'm so happy for you.
And
I'm going to go with you.
Okay, yeah. You invited to my church? Absolutely. I know 3 people now.
He said my church. Look at you, done claimed it.
I know 3 people up in there now. I'm somebody. I know the lady over there be making the coffee. I know one of the ushers because she got the little cane. And
Lord
then
Jesus.
I know Priscilla's friend. No, she got a cane, literally.
Okay.
I'm not making fun of her.
Okay.
She moves fast, too. You'll be surprised.
Just stop.
I remember being on the cane. Okay, all right. So anyway.
Stop. You were going good. Now it's going down.
I'm going to go back. To God be the glory. How about we start back there?
Yes.
All right. No, I'm good, man. I'm busy, like everybody. So Valentine's Day, wow, I worked.
Yeah, we all did.
I worked.
Pretty much.
But thank goodness I had got I came in with flowers for I got my daughter flowers in Atlanta.
Aww.
I got flowers for the 2 people in my house.
Love it.
So, I did the thing.
Love it.
And I already brought Priscilla like a gift, an expensive gift, like 3 weeks prior to.
Okay.
She saw it. I was like, oh, this is great. Now I don't have to worry about Valentine's Day.
Right.
And she was like, this is not my. I said, yeah, it is. It is. Happy Valentine's Day.
You ain't even let her get it out. You
got to stop her when she's staying sometimes.
I know that's right.
So it was good. How about you? How was
that's
your Valentine's?
Good. Yeah, well, so we worked as well, but we did get a chance to, the fiance took me out over the weekend, so we had a good time.
Okay.
Oh, we went to go see, excuse me, felt like I was going to burp there. We went to go see Bob Marley movie.
Oh,
yes.
Girl. That's my scene when to see Bob Marley. I was like, how you do that?
No, we went to go see Bob Marley movie.
Who was playing him? Who's the guy that's playing Bob Marley?
I don't know, but he did a good job to me. Yeah, he did a good job. And he was very easy on the eyes, so.
Oh, all right now.
But yeah, it was really good. I think they did a really good job with the movie itself. Yeah.
Anything about his Delaware roots in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really? Okay, look at DE on the map.
Yeah, you got to go check it out. I don't want to spoil it, but it definitely was a really good movie.
Okay.
It was very simple. It gave you, some idea as to what was going on and what he was facing and, of course, why he had to leave Jamaica and all of that. But very good movie. Hello, Eileen Williams. That's my mama, y'all.
Hey, Miss Eileen.
Thanks
how
for tuning
you?
in. My mom actually brought me Valentine's Day balloons and a card. She's so sweet.
Miss Williams. Yes, she is. Miss Williams, I'll be expecting mine next year. I ain't gonna hold it against you. Shay shouldn't have said nothing. You get one for your kids. You got to do it for them all.
My bad.
Let's keep it situated here.
So I just want to definitely. I heard last week while watching the show you were in your drug and alcohol program. So I just want to I'm still trying to understand why I'm the last to know, but I definitely wanted to congratulate you, man. That's awesome. That's great.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
And the reason you probably didn't know, you be taking off on Mondays.
Because you didn't tell me. Don't even try it.
It's been a couple of Monday nights we ain't seen you. The people were like, where's Shay? I said, well, there's no Shay.
Oh, that's what they say. Okay.
There's no
but
Shay.
You have had some great guests holding it down.
Yes.
You guys did a great job.
Thank you to Corey Wilkerson,
Yeah.
of course, always.
Nelly
Nelly Evans. She changed it.
We just gonna keep it as Nelly.
Okay, Nelly, Monet Floyd.
Yes.
We have been very blessed to have some great people that sit in this seat over here.
Yeah, thank you.
None taking your place, of course.
That's right.
But
That's right.
they did what they could when they could
did
do
with
it.
Great topics as well. And tonight
Yes.
we have a great topic for you guys. Yeah, man. Tonight's topic is the decision to fall in love. It's a decision.
It is. Ooh, falling in love. Is it voluntary? But remaining in love is a decision.
Right. Did I just completely butcher that topic?
Yeah,
I completely said it backwards.
Cut. Start over.
It has been a couple of weeks, but okay, say the topic again.
Falling in love is voluntary.
Yes.
But remaining in love is a decision.
Yes,
Wow, that's deep.
yes. So we're going to have a great conversation on that tonight. If you would like to be a part of the conversation, make sure you comment in the chat.
Yes.
Shout out to everybody that is watching over social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. What's up, y'all? And
Appreciate
of course,
ya.
the South has something to say. Yes. What you got to say, man?
Hey, y'all. Welcome to the South Has Got Something to Say segment. Tonight, it is Black History Month, and, we've been kind of been skipping around it a little bit. But tonight, I just want to take a few minutes that I have this time. So Saturday, I was talking to my oldest brother. So I'm going to give you some context. My oldest brother is 65. And so we were talking. So every chance I get when I talk to my brother and my sister Shirley, who passed away 2 years ago, every time I had an opportunity to have some extensive time with them to talk, I always asked a lot of questions about our family, about my mother, because they were around 15 and 14 years before I came on this earth, so they know a lot of intel. That's what I call it. What's the intel? What's the T? So they always know a lot of intel, things about the things that happened prior to me even getting here. They know things about our grandparents, our great-grandparents, things that, and I was always a kid that wanted to know where I come from.
Yeah.
And so we were having this conversation about just our family, our legacy, and keeping it going, and, turning to our elders. And then we were kind of like, you know what? We're sort of the elders now.
Ain't that something?
Yeah. So I do have an uncle. He's 84, and I have an aunt who's 82. She lives in Kansas City, and my uncle Billy lives in Arkansas. So we try to get with them. Now my brother knows a lot of the history, so I can easily talk to him. But I was just thinking, like, when their time comes, we're gonna be the people that has the information about our family. And I think it's important to pass this information down. And I know young people today, they don't really care about the family history, so to speak. Not all of them, but some. And I'm grateful that I have Haley, who asks me a lot of questions all the time about our grandmother, about where we came from, how did I get here, like how did our family matriculate from one place to the next.
Right.
So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for having her to be so interested in our family history. And I'm saying this to people who, like, if you don't. It's important to share where your parents came from, where your grandparents came from, to your children.
Yeah.
Even if they act like they're not interested, I mean, it's information they need to know, because as one generation leaves, oddly and weirdly enough, I'm up next. Like, I'm the generation that's here, and I'm going to be leaving here soon. So if my brother and I don't share stories and spread them down, the information stops. And there is no more family history. No one in 30 years or 40 years can tell anybody about the Isabels, because me and my siblings, we're all getting older. And, so I just think it's important, while you have the opportunity, man, share information to your children about their elders.
Absolutely.
It's important. So it's just something to keep in mind. Is that something you kind of try to share? You still have your mother, thank God, so you can go to her directly. Like, I don't have any grandparents. I don't have any parents left. So anything I get mostly comes from my older siblings, which may or may not be accurate, depending on what they want to share.
Yeah. And I think too, I think it's important also because, you know, cousins and stuff, they be like dating each other and don't realize they cousins, right?
Amen to that.
So it is important to be able to, if you have the information, to be able to share it. Unfortunately, like I kind of didn't know a lot about my roots and background, and I'm still like learning a lot of things, especially on my father's side. But you know, I do think that I don't necessarily think we do a great job with connecting the dots,
right?
You know, in our culture when it comes down to family and all of that. So I think it's important that if you do have someone, like you said, my mother is still here, to be able to really sit down and gain wisdom and ask questions. But my mom sometimes, my mom is listening too. My mom would be like, I don't know. So I'm not for sure if it would be accurate, but you know, some things that she do know. But we do have someone in the family, my cousin Valerie. She's very, very good with tracing and connecting the dots when it comes down to family. Yeah. So she's definitely someone I would like to sit down and have a conversation with and really like tap into that. But
and
good
do
for
it.
you.
Yeah, do it. And you know what? One thing too, I think it also helps us to understand like why people are the way they are. Like as you get information about your mother, or you get information about your father, or even I give Haley information about me and how I grew up, it kind of explains like why I moved the way I move. Maybe why her mother moves the way she moves. There's always context and information, and I think that you're right. I think because there is oftentimes a lot of trauma, there's some shame, there was abuse. I think we tend, especially black families, we tend not to share information. And I grew up in an era of stay out of grown folks' business. Like you wouldn't dare ask your mother a question, even if it affected your life completely. Yeah. And it was about how you may grow up or how you may be perceived. If the adults talked about it, you were not privy to that information, and you wouldn't dare ask about it. So that also stops generational information from being passed down. Yeah. Because of the way we're raised. Yeah. You know, it's either get this information, you try to get this information, you might get hands put on you. Yeah. Which is crazy. Right, absolutely. And then like you said, some of the information is shielded. They don't want you to know. Right. You know, certain things, right? So that's a good question for the listeners, you know, do you come from a family where you guys are in contact with, you know, members across your family, or you know, is it different? Are you looking? Are you searching? You know, trying to find out what your roots are. A lot of people are doing Ancestry. There's another one. I can't think of the name of it. That people are using. Is it the African Ancestry or something? It's something else, but it's for trace your roots. That's what it's called. No, I said it traces your roots. I didn't say it was called that. Oh, okay. But yeah, so there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. But again, that opens up a whole nother, as they say, Pandora's box, right? Because that's okay though, Shay. I think we have to understand that that's okay. Yeah. It doesn't you have to be ready for it though. You do have to be ready for it. And I think that led to me finding out who my father was at 26. My real father, instead of me knowing, because we don't talk about those things. This is what he thinks, we're going to let him think. That's not fair. No, it's not fair. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that we definitely need to do a better job of sharing information. And it may hurt, but it's information we need to know. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you know, I'm sure all races do it to a degree. I'm black, so that's the only race I know. And I know we do it. And I know we've done it within my family. So it's time to, it's okay if you went through the trauma, if you went through some kind of abuse, you know, shit happens. We fall down, we get back up, but we don't hide. Like those things make us who we are sometimes. That's how we build strength and character, through trauma sometimes. Unfortunately, it's built that way sometimes. So it's not a bad thing. So, I agree. Yeah, shout out to my sister Dorothy, who is in the hospital. Thank you for tuning in. I love you. I'm going to call you later. I'll get better soon. Yeah. So yeah, let's just stop with the secrets.
Yeah.
Share the information if you know it.
Yeah, and the trauma that we go through, man, share that story because that's going to help. We just repeat. It's the same thing. We just repeat different things. I tell my sons that all the time. Like, it is nothing that you have experienced that I probably haven't experienced already. It just looks different, you know? But if you don't sit down and have conversation on how to get through, you know, those challenges and those hard times, they're not going to know. Now, of course, they're always going to make their own decision, right? But at least I can sit there and say, yeah, you know, I know how that feels. This is what happened to me. This is how I handled it. Now, you choose to handle it the way you want, but at least they know that, oh, okay, I'm not the only one, you know?
Yeah.
So that's important.
And it gives them some idea of how to handle a familiar situation. Like if you've told them I went through this, and then we can talk about it. It gives them an opportunity to say, hey, you know, I remember my mom was telling me this, so maybe I should be looking out for this. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But yes.
Sure. Good. The South got something to say?
The South got something to say. Listen, we're going to wrap the segment, man. But listen, let's just make sure we share, especially our family history, man. Again, we don't need cousins dating cousins and all of that stuff right there. If you know, there's some great things that have happened in all of our families. We need to definitely share those things too. It's not all trauma.
Absolutely.
So, yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Again, thank you guys for tuning into the Rebirth. If you are just joining us, welcome. We are very excited. We have a great show tonight. Falling in love. Is it voluntarily? It is voluntarily, right? Do you think?
Initially.
Yeah?
I think so.
But remaining in love is a decision. Why are we talking about this tonight? Of course, because this is Valentine's month, right? So we're going to tackle all things relationship, love, all of that.
Love.
Yeah, all things love and all of that. I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine, and I was telling her about that they're, you know how you had Valentine's, and now they have the Galentines, and there's also Side Chick Day.
That's the 13th, right?
For you to wait,
no,
hold on.
I heard.
Pause.
Because I know the date.
Why do you know the date?
I know some things about Kwanzaa, but I don't celebrate it. That don't mean I don't know about it.
All right, we're gonna move right on to the
Go
topic
ahead. So what was you about to say?
I don't know what I was gonna say, but it's all good.
See, I wasn't sure about the date. That means I don't have, none of that's going on.
Okay, yeah, okay.
13th or the 15th? No, I'm playing.
So I think it's the 15th.
See, how you know?
I think because I literally just saw it on Instagram.
Why can't that be my excuse?
Whatever.
Well, I'd
Eli.
have to be questioned more if I say it. Oh, how you know that?
So when you hear the topic, when you hear what we're talking about tonight, falling in love is voluntarily, but staying in love is the decision. The first thing comes to my mind is I hear people say, well, we can't help who we love, or we don't choose who we love. You know, those type of sayings. What is your thoughts? Do you believe that we do choose who we love, or we can help who we love?
I think that we oftentimes fall in love with the representative. And I think that once we find out that that's not who they are, we don't work hard enough to get out of it. So I think it is voluntary. I mean, you don't know when you meet somebody, you don't know that this person's gonna put you in a space where you feel like you may be falling in love with them because of the way they're treating you, the chemistry, you're vibing, and then the real person comes out. That's when I think it's more of a decision that you try to remain. It's like crack. This is a weird analogy, but I've never done crack.
But go ahead.
But I've heard when you first try it, you hit the pipe. You spend the rest of your addiction trying to find that first high. You heard that before? That's what keeps people.
You chase it. You
constantly.
keep chasing the high.
You're chasing that high.
Right. Okay.
And I think it's the same thing with love. When you meet somebody and they touch you in a way, emotionally, mentally, and physically, I guess, in a way that you've never been touched, and you're moved in a certain way, and then things start to go left. I think sometimes we spend a lot of time chasing the beginning of that relationship.
Okay.
And before you know it, it's been 12, 13 years. It's been a couple of kids, and you can't stand her, or you can't, he can't stand you. It happens.
It does.
Was that aggressive?
It was the way you said you can't stand her.
Can't stand that bitch.
But okay.
I'm saying. That sound aggressive, didn't it?
It's all good though. You meant it.
I mean, it's just real though. I think we spend a lifetime, or we spend 10, 12 years chasing how things were in the beginning. And oftentimes we don't catch it without the proper help.
Yeah. I agree. So with that being said, when you're falling in love with someone, or you get, first of all, I don't think I believe that you fall in love. I think people fall in lust.
In the beginning?
In the beginning, yeah. I feel like, I don't know. I don't know if it's a thing of love at first sight, right? I think that we like to think that that's what it was, but it really is more of a lust thing, right? Now, I think that love is worked towards. You can work on getting to that level, but do you necessarily fall in love with someone initially? We like to think we are, but is that really what it is?
Right. I wanted to try to disagree with you so bad, but seriously, because I there's been times where I know it over my life. I feel like, damn, I've known her a week. I think I love her, and I think the issue is, I think we dismiss the lustful part of it. Even though that's what we're chasing, because I don't know you to love you.
Right.
After a night,
right,
or a week or two. I think what happens is there's some kind of need that is met upon that first meeting or that first week or two, and you think, oh, I've been searching for this my whole life. This is what I've always asked God for. We start rationalizing why we could be in love with this person. I've had nothing but horrible sex. I've never had a man really listen to me. And along comes, Tahid. I don't know why that name came out. I don't even know about anybody by that name. But along came Tahid, and he's touching you mentally, physically, and emotionally in different places, and you think you in love. So I wanted to disagree with you, but I guess I can't. I think it is lust, especially for men. I don't know. Maybe women see it differently. You tell me.
Do women feel?
Do women lust after men at the rate that men lust after women? You think?
I don't know. That's a difficult question. I don't know.
If women are very lustful, the people in the room, just raise your hand if you agree.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so.
Nobody's going to claim that?
I think because the lust comes with, because so we all know that men are very visual, right? Now we don't want anything bad on the eyes either, but I think we kind of go beyond the physical look. Now I don't know about this generation today.
What about initially though?
But I think
that's all you got.
Right. I said that initially, you want something that's kind on the eyes,
all right,
right?
sorry. Yeah.
But also, I'm gonna put this out there. You can look at a man and he might not be attractive, but the way he dress and his swag makes him attractive. You know what I'm saying? So it may not even necessarily be the aesthetics of him, but just how he carries himself, his swag, even the being able to be in a conversation and you find that this brother is intelligent and he can hold a good conversation, that draws you in, right? But
so you can overlook aesthetics based upon those factors.
Yeah.
What if that front tooth right here is not there, but he's
what?
intelligent as a mofo? His swag is crazy. He just got that little tooth missing, and then spit flies out of it periodically. But he's saying intellectual things. Can you rock with that? I'm just asking a question.
It can be fixed.
But can you move beyond that first meeting?
It would be challenging. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. That would be very challenging. But that is something that is fixable. And again, I'm a woman of a certain age, right? So I can kind of I look beyond some of the
around the tooth.
Yeah, I look beyond some of the things that maybe people look at as being like this absolutely has to be in place. This has to happen.
I'm gonna say a front missing tooth has to absolutely be in place. Now I'm not gonna. Now if you take it out when you lay down because it's a partial, that's one thing. But you're not meeting me. We're not meeting at the bar, and we're gonna continue this conversation. And it's spit flying out right here out of that missing tooth.
Absolutely,
it's tapping me right here.
You know it's fixable.
That's my camera right. No.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, Eli.
All right, sorry.
Let's kind of take it back to what love. What's the definition of, being in love, or love is a romantic, right? But you can love someone, it could be considered to be platonic, right? So we still have these conversations about love versus being in love versus being infatuated, versus being, in lust and all of these things. I think it's important to be able to identify what it is that you're feeling. And I think a lot of times we are infatuated or we are, lusting, and we don't really necessarily, we would say that we're in love, but I don't really think that's the case. I think that's something that grows over time. It grows over time. So the beginning of it feels so good, right? Because it's new, it's fresh. We on the phone hours at a time, and we get the good morning texts and the good night texts, and it's exciting, right?
Right.
And then it starts to become. It starts to become a thing where I can see myself with this person, or this person makes me feel this way. But then eventually over time, we stop investing the time that it takes to feel those butterflies, right? We start taking our partners for granted.
Right.
The good morning texts are not every day now, It's, I was going to hit you, I was busy, or, the consistency is not there anymore, right? We start putting people and things in front of the time that we usually would take with our partner. That starts to die down. Now, let's not mention when the kids and the finances and the responsibility, all of that starts to come into place. That now, this is where the love is.
Yeah.
Because beyond all of that, you have to make a decision every day to still choose that person.
Yeah, I think once the new car smell of this relationship wears off, 'cause that's what it is.
The crack, smells like
you know how you first get that
symbolism.
2024, you watching that Joker every week. You got the inside clean.
You're right.
By mid 2025, it's French fries in the back seat on the floor. You ain't washed it in 3-4 months. So as we're maintaining anything, there takes work. But when, like you just kind of mentioned, when real life kicks in, that's where the work begins. And I think that most of us, especially we're love starved, for lack of a better phrase. We go into a relationship, we're so thirsty to be loved and want to be loved and want to be married, especially if we're a certain age.
Yeah.
Oh God, there's an opportunity to get married. Like, we don't even think about, like, after the wedding, after the I do's, like, now you're bringing these kids together. You're a certain age. Most of us got kids already. So now we're bringing these children together. We ain't even thought nothing about that. We just thought about our needs and what we wanted.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy at that point for you to kind of, like, the good morning text, or to call them at work to say, hey, babe, or sending that picture like, hey, this is going to be waiting for you when you get home from work. That doesn't happen once you're well into the marriage.
Yeah.
Those things end.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I don't know. It's weird how life itself dictates, for a lot of people, life itself dictates the state of your relationship. And it's crazy. So this I'm trying to say I can say it without saying. Okay, so I know a kid I work with. I'm gonna use past tense. A kid I work with. His mom met a guy she knew from college. They reconnected 20 years later. So he moves to the city she lives into. 3 weeks in, she had a stroke.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she had a stroke. This is a real story. She had a stroke. So now everybody's waiting to see, because he didn't, for lack of a better phrase, he didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
So now he's there taking care of her 2 children.
Wait a minute, are they married?
They are not. She had the stroke 3 weeks after he moved to her city.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? They ran back into each other. They've been talking for months. We want to be together. I remember back on the yard down at, wherever, Fayetteville State in 95, and here we are. And 3 weeks in, she has a stroke, and she, she's dealing with that. So her parents are waiting for him to bounce. Because we're talking 3 weeks in, and now I have to. So that's where it was lust coming in. What does he do now? Because the whole relationship, everything has changed completely because of her medical situation.
Yeah.
Now she's gonna have to do rehab. She doesn't talk the same anymore. She doesn't look the same anymore. And he moved up here on some, my baby from freshman year '95, and now here we are in a whole new thing. Like that's where you need to be in love, because love. I'm just thinking like her father said, he don't think lust is gonna keep him there. You know what I'm saying?
So he can love this woman, but I don't think love is going to keep him there either. And I think that's the whole point of our topic tonight is even if you love someone, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to be with them. Okay? You literally have to make a decision every day that this is the person that I choose over and over and over again, right? No matter what. But if you choose not to do that, it doesn't mean that you don't love the person. It just means that, like you said, this is not something that I'm willing to negotiate or I've signed up for.
Right.
Now, they're not married.
They're
it's different.
not, no,
it's different if they were married, right?
Of course, yeah.
But
even still,
yeah.
like, you gotta look a little slimy. You dipping back up out of here now when she needs you the most.
Yeah.
Like that's so, I don't know. I'm saying her father's saying the lust that led him up here is not gonna keep him here. And I don't even know, like you said, will love keep him here? It's too early in the game for me to be like, oh man, I gotta hold this whole thing down. Some kids that I'm just meeting.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and you really have, and depending on their age and all of that, you really don't know. Like,
Mid-40s.
When you look at life, it's like, well, do I want to spend? Is this how I envision the rest of my life?
Right.
You know, and if that person didn't envision their life to look like that, which I'm sure he didn't, nobody would have, imagined that was going to happen. The reality is he has a freedom of choice. He can choose something different for himself, regardless whether he's in love or he
is dirty. Is he wrong for that?
I'm going to say no, that he's not wrong for that.
Okay.
I'm not, because here's the thing. If you're trying to stay somewhere that you really don't want to be, you're not going to be no good to that person. And you're going to end up resenting that person because you're going to feel like I'm only here because I feel like I have to be here, and you feel sorry, and you don't, like you said, like people gonna look at me slimy if I leave now. But if the reality is, it's like I do love you, but I'm not willing to take on the responsibility of having to take care of you and all that comes along with that, then I'd rather for you to be upfront with me and tell me that versus staying somewhere that you don't really want to be.
I guess, big picture, I'm thinking from a perspective of, say that was my sister. And this joker has now moved into her home, and he is, he's trying to fulfill the role of father. He's helping her, your bills, he's gotten a job, and now this happens, and where is your loyalty to my sister? Granted, you didn't sign up for this, but if that same thing happened to you, you would be expecting her to take care of you. I don't know. And I'm speaking from probably a married perspective too.
Absolutely. I think marriage is different. If you're married to the person, when you say, well, you didn't sign up for this, well, yes, you did, because in marriage it clearly says for better or worse, right? So you did sign up for it. But I do think that people tend to get into situations blindly, and they're stuck on what their feelings are in that moment, and not really looking at things and say, okay, if this was to happen, do I still see myself with this person? You know what I'm saying? Really having those honest conversations with yourself, because life be lifing out here. Life is going to happen.
And those are conversations we never had.
Right.
Because we just don't, we don't foresee health issues. That's tough. And that's why if I become single, I'm gonna get me another old person because I won't be counting on no 28-year-old girl to help me out if I have a stroke. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to be aligned in that way to we're the same age group because I think about when I had my surgery, the things that I needed.
Yeah.
I don't think no young modern Instagram woman would be doing any of those things for me. They're like, oh hell no, Playboy, you gotta call your sister.
Right. Well, or listen, if you got the bag, then they're gonna be there to take care of you as long as you got the bag. Because that's the time.
And the bag will be calling
right
in
now.
help, a nurse to help him, not them still not doing it.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So let me ask you, you've been married for how long?
19 years.
19 years, right? So 19 years, you still choose your wife every day. You still choose your wife every day, right? And I don't think necessarily that people, you maybe don't realize or you really take that in consideration that every day I wake up, I still choose Priscilla. I still choose her. Regardless of what you guys go through, I still choose her. I still choose her. She still chooses you. It's when you stop choosing.
Right.
It's when you stop choosing and you start focusing on, what's not happening, what's not going well, and not understanding that you can take that same situation and put it in the hands of somebody you just met. Give it enough time, you're going to be dealing with the same challenges.
Yeah. That is true, because everybody's coming with something.
Everybody's coming with something, right? But it feels when you are, and this is how I feel affairs happen, and this is why people cheat. I feel like people want to escape their reality. And when you are with someone that you guys don't have the same responsibilities, you don't have kids involved, you're a good time. You're my escape, right? You're my vacation. I can check out and just have fun and not really think about, the responsibilities, right? We need to keep having those type of moments with the person that we're with.
Right.
Instead of looking outside of that to try to fulfill that. Because again, like I said, you can take that same person and then you guys start getting responsibilities together and you're going to feel the same way that you do in the relationship that you have.
Absolutely. I think that most of us don't want to work, so it's easier to explore and have those things elsewhere. And again, when you have a lack of communication and it's bad most of the time. Not sometimes, not here and there, but when a relationship is struggling and it's bad most of the time, I think it's easier to go there.
Yeah.
Because everything always looks better. That grass always looks greener over there.
Absolutely.
I saw this thing that says, yeah, you think the grass looks green over there, but it's effed up over here because of you. So you're going to come over there and F up that grass. So sometimes it's us.
Sometimes it us.
It ain't, the grass ain't green over here because of me.
You're right.
So.
You're absolutely right. Now, there are times where things happen.
And you should cheat.
No, not that you should cheat.
I was trying to help you out. I thought that's where you was going.
There are times where things happen where you walk into a situation, and again, like you said, the representative, a person presents themselves as being this, and their belief is this. But once they feel that they have you locked in, all of a sudden now things are changing.
The work stops.
Right? The work stops. The person that I thought I was falling in love with, that is actually not who you are. So the real person actually peaks. So do you continue to decide to be in that? That's not who you really fell in love with.
Right. I think for comfort's sake, for knowing what you have and not wanting to get out here in this world, in this dating world today is crazy. So I think because of a certain level of comfort, I think people just rock out sometimes. And one thing I know, and I've never spoke to anybody who died and came back and said, yo, you're gonna get a second chance. So there's one crack at this thing called life, and I don't want to spend it miserable. I can deal with, because life happens and you're going to have ups and downs. But if I'm at a point where I'm just miserable, I cannot stay.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree.
There's no do-overs as far as I know with life. So why would we? I don't think we should subject ourselves to that. When that real person shows up and he's not who he presented to be in the beginning, or she. Let me just stop putting on men all the time.
Yeah.
When that real person shows up and she's not who she presented to be.
Yeah.
I think fellas, I think a lot of times we'll just cheat instead of getting out of that situation.
And why
and men
is
are
that?
miserable too sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll give you several reasons. Child support, alimony. There's an old blues songs by Johnny Taylor. Say it's cheaper to keep her.
It's cheaper to keep her.
It's cheaper to keep her. That's a real thing. So, it costs you $100 to get a marriage license and get married, but it costs you thousands to get out of that situation. Sometimes your house, your cars. So some people will just stay in a situation and be content with being miserable. And that's a sucky way to go about it.
Do you feel that? What is your thoughts about people being? Do you feel that we should, when we're in a relationship, that we always love on the same level, or do you feel that there's levels of that, right?
Yep. I think it's rare because we're different people, even though we're in this union together. I think it's rare that we're always loving on the same level at the same time. I mean rare. Maybe other than the very beginning, in that lust, I think I love them phase. Yeah. But once you get going, I think that, of course, love ebbs and flows. Sometimes you're ebbing, she's flowing, vice versa. But that's where the conversation has to come in. And I think that a lot of us, we don't do a good enough job of communicating with our partner what our needs are. And then sometimes we have people, you're able to communicate with your partner what your needs are, and they don't receive it. They don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you all right.
Yeah, for sure.
Get on in there and fry this fish. That sounds like that's me talking, but it's not. Get on in there and fry that fish.
Let me find out.
Nah, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes people just don't receive what you're trying to get across to them. Yeah. And that's men and women.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are different levels of love. Like you said, I don't feel that we are always on the same level, and I think that's okay. Yep. And I don't necessarily think that it always has to do with your partner not doing something, because it may not have anything to do with your partner. It may have everything to do with where you are in your life, right? So I think self-love is a big component. If you don't love yourself and you're not invested in yourself, you can't possibly give that to somebody else. Right. If you can't even give that to yourself. So I think a lot of us have to check that. We got to tap into, do we actually really love ourselves and where we are in our lives? Because our relationships could be suffering because of the lack of love that we have for ourselves, right? So then the other piece of that is, how can I even tell you how to love me if I don't love me? Right. How can I even tell you if something feels good or something makes me happy when I don't even have the ability of doing those things for myself? Right?
Agree.
So that's very, very important.
And I also think and you're right, self-love, it all starts there. That's with relationships. That's just with, you have to love you first. And I think the reason a lot of people don't explore like how to love themselves and how to understand what they need is because in order to do that and to develop that self-love, sometimes you have to go down a path to kind of retrace where you came from and what was responsible for you not thinking highly of yourself or not thinking that you deserve better. And a lot of times I don't think we want to go down that path because it's too painful. Yeah. So that stops us from loving ourselves, because I don't care what you say, you have to, in order to move forward, you have to revisit or go back to what put you in that place in the first place. You cannot just sweep that stuff under the rug, which we tend to do a lot in our community, and we move forward. You're never going to be fulfilled. It's never going to be, no matter what a man or a woman does for you, if you don't love yourself, they can never do enough. Yeah. They can never do enough to make you happy. So it has to start, 100% agree. It has to start with you. And without that, you assed out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So again, the topic that we're talking about, love is voluntarily, but
Remaining in love is a decision.
Is a decision. I don't know. I kind of also feel too, from a different perspective, that is it voluntarily, or do you think sometimes we get into these relationships / marriages because this is what we're supposed to do, right? This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to grow up, and we've had these conversations, right? How we're supposed to grow up, we're supposed to get married from a females. We're supposed to get married, have children, all of that. This is what we're supposed to do. This is what society says we're supposed to do. Where, if you're going by that, then perhaps you are in a situation that you really don't love the person, but you did it because this is what I'm supposed to do. And I'm supposed to do it by a certain age, right? Because now I got to have a child, and I got to have that child by a certain age.
Or if you got pregnant first, you definitely got to get married now.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So when you're in those type of situations, can you still make a decision every day to choose that person?
Sounds like you're being
What if you
hostage.
never loved them in the beginning? You're right. It's more of a business arrangement, right? And you have relationships that are business arrangements. Yeah. I'm with this person because I've known them for so long, right. Or this person is like my best friend. Well, they're your best friend, but they're not your romantic partner. So the romance part of that is missing, right?
Absolutely.
Speak on it, E. Come on. What the South got to say?
Hey, I think that, of course, it happens all the time. I think that people are with people for financial gains, and people are willing. I always hark back to this, but I'm gonna give Jay-Z a break tonight. Let's say Dennis Rodman, right? For example, just flow with me.
Do y'all even know who Dennis Rodman is? It's been a long time since he's been around. But go ahead.
Okay, Dennis Rodman is a former basketball player for the Chicago Bulls. Probably one of the top 5 ugliest men in the world.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm going to say allegedly for the sake of if anybody try to come after me. However, Google him, Jen.
Disclaimer.
Dennis Rodman. So Dennis Rodman has dated some of the most beautiful women in the world. And we know for a fact, people do things for different reasons. We know for a fact that Dennis Rodman could not have dated Paul Abdul, Carmen Electra, all these different, women, if he wasn't in the position he was in within the NBA. So I imagine the other celebrity women get with him. There's a sense of security. They don't have to worry about their money. He has his own money. There's different reasons. It's not that they look at him and be like, oh, God, he's beautiful. That's not what's happening. And I don't know what kind of personality he has, but the fact that when a man has money, his personality, his physical, the money trumps all of those things. Hands Jay-Z and Beyonce. If Jay-Z wasn't a rapper, he wasn't a billionaire. If he wasn't who he was when she met him, he wouldn't have had a chance in that. Let's just keep it funky. And I hear women say, and I've heard women say, oh, no, Jay's handsome. Yeah, Jay worth $1 billion. He is handsome. Shit, he look good to me. He worth $1 billion. But we know if Jay-Z earned $40,000 a year, he gets no Beyonce. I'm just saying. So people jump into situations for various reasons. Some of them are financial. It's security. If you've grown up poor your whole life, and here's a man that makes $100K a year, that's like $1 million to you. And you live in a nice house in a nice neighborhood or whatever, shit, he can do what he want to do. Because you will no longer live the way you grew up. And some people are content with that. So is it about love? Is it about the lust? Absolutely not. It's about security. People jump into situations to have an easier life, so to speak. Yeah. Shout out to Hove and Dennis Rodman.
He's one of my favorite rappers.
Who, Jay?
Yeah, he is.
No, he is. And maybe I said Dennis Rodman is in the top 5 of ugliest men in the world. If I might have left Jay out of there. Jay ain't far behind.
Oh, gosh.
He is a dope rapper, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. But I think, too, Jay has swag with him. So, again, he's one of those guys, his swag when it comes down to, and that's not something that you will see as a man necessarily, but I think some ladies, I'll say some, because, he might not be the most attractive person, but his swag and his conversation and his he's very intelligent, and
He is all of those things.
though that again sometimes trumps the physical for women sometimes.
Okay. So
Not,
question.
Yeah.
Question.
What?
Question. You're at Oath 84.
Is what?
You're at Oath 84
Okay.
on King Street,
here
French
we
Street,
go.
King Street. And, Jay's will tell her Citizens Bank. He comes in with all that swag. Everything that comes with Jay-Z. And he looks the way he looks, but he works at Citizens Bank. And he steps to you. With the big wick dreadlocks, the Kodak Black don't even wear them no
No,
more.
see, I don't
He comes
I don't
to
like
you.
those.
He
I don't
comes
like
to
his-
you and all that, but the
yeah.
swag.
He got to start rapping though.
He's intelligent. He's
You
all
gotta say,
of-
I do say so myself.
So then I'm calling BS on what you said then. I'm calling BS on the swag
just saying.
argument and the intelligence.
I said some. I didn't say. I just said some. Anyway, let's go to our comments. Shout out to everybody that is in the conversation. Shout out to Priscilla. What's up, Levante? So Jen says, what about arranged marriages? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because how does this factor in when it comes down to arranged marriages? Arranged marriages, they're arranged. You don't love the person. You're not walking in unloved, but they're arranged for a reason, right? Those families connect people because this is a business transaction and they know that you come from
Good stock.
and together this is what it's going to look like. So you guys have to grow in love, right?
Right. That's a cultural thing too. If you grew up in a certain culture, then you already know that this is gonna happen. You resigned in your mind that my parents are gonna find my husband or my wife. So it's nothing that you there's no pushback, very little. I'm wondering if people I know Middle Eastern people and I know some African they still arrange marriages like the old way. I wonder if the kids today are pushing back on that now. You know what I'm saying? Because
question.
That's sort of like the old way of doing things. I'm sure it still happens, but
So I don't know this. I don't know this family personally, but I know of a family. I put it that way, where I think it's Pakistan.
okay.
Is where they are originally from, but the daughter is she was born here. And she did she get pregnant? Yeah, she got pregnant.
First?
She's not married. She got pregnant.
Oh, wow.
And the father absolutely is just over it. He doesn't talk to the grandbaby, doesn't acknowledge the grandbaby, and the grandbaby is a girl. So again, this is a cultural thing. So her issue is we're in America. I'm American. And you're trying to make me abide by the culture and what that looks like in Pakistan, but we're in America, right? I think she's 19 or 20 years old.
Wow.
So
Do they arrange them that early though?
yeah, it depends on what you have. Some cultures where they arrange weddings at 16.
That's insane.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, but again, so I do believe it still happens. Absolutely. And it still happens even here in America, because just because they're here doesn't mean they still don't practice their culture or their beliefs, their value systems, you know?
Yeah.
So it definitely happens.
Can you imagine if your mom said, hey, you're marrying this person right here at 21 and you never seen this dude yet? Well, you knew him, you grew up with him, but you didn't know that plot was being plotted, that you're marrying Tyrone from New Street. What's the street in Violent? What's the popular street in Violent?
Landis Avenue.
Okay, Landis Avenue. Tyrone from Landis Avenue. Can you imagine that? He pop up and there's a wedding being planned.
Yeah.
I think of Coming to America when I think about that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that got to be a scary situation. So Jen says, if we're talking about arranged marriages, then that makes love a decision, right?
That is true.
So, but it doesn't necessarily mean right. I was going to say it doesn't necessarily mean that you will quickly fall in love with that person, but I think but it goes back to what I said originally. Let's take arranged marriages off the table. and just getting to know someone, and you're infatuating, and it's just like, okay, now the proposal.
Right.
And it's, yes, I will marry you. And now it's like, okay, the real work starts after you say I do. But again, this is why you have to prepare to be a husband and to prepare to be a wife, and not just do that after the vows are taken.
It's too late.
You just don't all of a sudden, as soon as you say I do, you know how to be a wife.
Right.
Or you know how to be a husband. If that is the end game, if that is what you want to do, then you have to start preparing yourself now. You have to start walking as that now.
I don't think most of us we don't know that. I think
Nobody's talking about
millions
it.
of people get married every
Exactly.
week, year, and that's never a discussion.
Exactly. Why? Why is that not, especially with the rate of divorce?
Yeah.
Why are we not having those discussions?
I think it's societal pressure. It's family pressure. It's different things depending on what your value system is, or the value system that you were raised in. People out here getting married on some craziness. That, like you say, getting pregnant. If you come from a certain, cultural background or a certain value system, you get married before that baby gets here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So, that's tough.
But if we're looking at just a regular relationship where there is love, we know that there is love there, but there may be some challenges, right? Like we said earlier, life be life, and sometimes, and you're always going to have some type of challenge in any relationship. It's really what is it that you got baggage, I got baggage. It's really about what kind of baggage you willing to carry. Some baggage I'm just not willing to carry at the age that I'm in. I'm just not. I've been there, done that. Some things is just like, nah, I'm good.
Right.
And I will say that. Nah, I'm good. This ain't gonna work for me. That's my favorite line. This ain't gonna work for me. I'll say that quick. But if you are in a relationship, and it's a healthy relationship, right? Then you still have to make a decision every day to love that person and to be in that relationship. Every day you have to make a decision. Every single day you have to choose to be with that person.
Do you watch this show called 90 Day Fiancé?
I've seen it a couple of times. Yeah.
These people, they meet, and then they'll come to that person's country, the man or the woman, to go either way. And so they're together they have 90 days. I think the visa's for like 90 days. So you have this amount of time to decide if you're going to get married. And I'll just be looking at these people like, and some of these people get married, and then afterwards it's a mess. It is a love after lockup. They come home, it's a mess. Like I watch all these shows, and this entertaining. These are my guilty pleasures. Especially Love After Lockup. Like I just don't like. This is on season 7 or 8. Y'all ain't watched none of them previous seasons. You just want to be on TV. Like it's rare that a couple on Love After Lockup makes it. You take a dude or a woman that's coming home. I'm gonna say specifically a man. He ain't been out here in the world for 10, 12 years. He's trying to spread it around off the top. Yeah, you're going to get it first because, of course.
Yeah.
But like, how do you think he's ready to, he's been confined. Now he's going to be confined within the relationship.
Right.
After being confined.
Exactly. Like, you were his entertainment.
You kept him going.
You were his reason to get through each day and not shank somebody or end up getting shanked. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like you were his, his escape. And then once he is actually out, or she is out, because women they do it too. Once they're out, it's just like, oh, thank you for getting me through that hard time. Now I gotta, So, but why do you think it's like within a 3-month period of time, like 90 Day Fiancé, Love and Locked Up, whatever it's called? It's within a 3-month time. But if you think about people, when we meet someone, those first 3 months, we're locked in.
Yeah.
We're locked in.
Those are the best. Seems like it.
Right? This is where, I can see myself here with you and all this other stuff.
That's the voice. That's what happens.
Like all of this, right? Those 3 months. But again, this is why you should date every season. Fall, spring, winter, summer. because you just don't know what might change. You don't know if this is the same person in the winter. Is it going to be the same person in the summer?
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, you have to make the decision every day, everybody. If you are in some loving relationships and it's a healthy one, make sure that you make the decision each day to be in that relationship. If you love them.
Right.
If you feel that it's worth being there and worth, fixing and understand that there's always going to be problems.
Right.
No relationship is perfect, and even the perfect relationship is not perfect.
And I'm gonna say real quick, I know we're gonna wrap. Even in the midst of those problems, it's still important to stay locked in. Mm-hmm. Like if that means you need to go downstairs for a bit or you go upstairs, whatever that looks like, you still have to remain locked in because the more you separate it, the easier it is to stay separated.
Absolutely.
So just kind of, you still have to have that communication. I just stand on the communication piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to answer a quick question. Question was, so does it mean you're not choosing love if you don't get married? Absolutely not. Marriage is not for everybody. And just because you're in love or you love someone doesn't mean that you need to be married. Being married is it's awesome, it's great, it's amazing, but it's work. Relationships are work. But you don't necessarily need to be married to someone because you love them.
Right.
And some people, they're lifelong partners and they're not married. Right? So that's really up to you as an individual, what works for you. Some people don't want to get into marriage because they've seen so many failed marriages. So some people are afraid to do it, right? But it doesn't mean that they don't love their partner. Right? So, wow. Well, we can talk about this on and on, but it is time to wrap up tonight. Just want to shout out a couple of people. Again, thank you, Corey, for tuning in. Thank you, Levante, Priscilla. Thank you, my mom. She tuned in tonight. Who you got on your side?
My sister. I don't know why I don't get all of the stuff you get. I have no comments.
Nelly. What up, Nelly?
No one talks to me.
Thank you, Dorothy. Again, feel better. Get better soon. And again, as always, Jen, thank you for your information and your feedback. Corey says, your relationship is yours. Everyone's different. Fall in love with what works for you. Nicely said. Absolutely. The thinker. Absolutely. Guys, it's been great being back tonight.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in. We have so many exciting conversations coming up here in 2024. So make sure that you follow us on all social media at Rebirth You Podcast. And wherever you get your podcasts, we are available on all podcast platforms. So wherever you get your podcast, you can find us at Rebirth Podcast. Anything from you?
Nah, man. God bless y'all.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next Monday at 7 p.m. Until then, have a blessed night.
Peace.